Thank you all for joining us for this evening's webinar to cover the Alpine aspects of the Winter Games that are coming up on February 22nd and 23rd. Thank you for taking a bit of time out this evening to join us. I hope everybody had a very positive and successful time trials over the weekend. Things seemed to go really well at least from our perspective, and we hope it was the same for you as well. This is Mike Zarnowski with Special Olympics Maryland. I'm going to actually mute my phone momentarily as George Hergenhan and Matt Otwell will be leading the conversation or leading the presentation here. As was noted earlier, if you could please mute your phones by hitting *6. We certainly want your questions. I want your input as we go through, but it helps reduce the background noise significantly if you do mute your phone. And I did also want to let everyone know that we are recording this session. We will be posting it as we have been for the last year or so, posting the recordings on YouTube and we'll send a link out to everyone. In addition, we'll put a link on MySOMD in the coaches section. So that said, Matt, it looks like you're on the webinar. Are you on the phone at this point?
I am.
Okay, well, great. I'm going to go ahead and mute, and you just tell me when to go through, and when we get to that staging and awards slide I added, you tell us how you want to address it, okay?
Certainly. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us. We're going to go through this pretty quickly. We're going to focus most of our attention on the first half of the agenda here, as the Alpine rules and snow tips and additional information we covered pretty extensively in the coaches classroom session that replaced the coaches on snow. But again, these are things that reiterate, and there are no changes to the rules. So for the agenda for this evening, we're going to go through the events that are being offered, the competition schedule, the base map, so that way everyone understands where everything's going to be this year, and then the competition map, and go through where the course locations are for the Alpine competitions. Then we're going to talk about staging awards, the process flow. A lot of work went into that this off-season to try and help make that more efficient. So let's go ahead and go to the next slide, Mike. So the events that we're offering, no changes here from last year. Everything that we added, all the unified events we added last year, everything is the same. We're both giant slalom events for advanced, intermediate, and novice. We have the advanced Super G and the intermediate Super G with unified events in slalom advanced and slalom intermediate, and also unified events for the Super G event as well. Also, we will have the Glide, Super Glide, and again this year we're hoping for a little bit better turnout. We are going to continue the snowboarding event as we're working to grow this. Our eventual goal is to have snowboarding become a competition unto itself, and eventually there's no commitment to the time frame, but we would like snowboarding to eventually become a medal competition. So Mike, let's go ahead and go on to the next slide, please. So the schedule. I'm going to focus on this slide quite a bit. I want everybody to know that the schedule from year to year has become a living thing. Each year what we do, it used to be very static. There wasn't many changes to the schedule. Until the opening ceremonies was moved to Monday and the time trials being moved to 2 weeks prior. Since then, we've seen with the addition of newer events, we've seen upticks in certain competitions, namely the Super G. The Super G has been by far last year and again this year the most popular events that we're offering. It's great, and I'll be honest with you, that is my favorite run as well. But we've also seen some changes from year to year in the giant slalom competitions as well. So the schedule is different this year. So if you have a 2015 schedule, please disregard that and only follow the schedules that are either included in this presentation or which will be in the event guide. So with that, opening ceremonies is going to start at 11 a.m. with lunch promptly following. Opening ceremonies should be completed promptly at 11:30. Athletes grab a quick lunch. Then we're going to jump right into competition. If anyone remembers the schedule from last year, we are bumping the schedule up by about 15 minutes. We want to make sure that we have ample time between competitions to allow athletes to get from one event to another if they're competing in 2 events on Monday. Also, we want to make sure that we allow for the most time for the biggest, the events with the most registered athletes. So as you can see, after lunch, we're going to start promptly at 1 p.m. All of our course officials have been instructed 1 p.m. is the start time. So we've been putting a lot of effort into communication between our course officials this year. We actually held a pre-games meeting on Sunday of time trials to go through our continuous timing operations, and we're going to have another meeting the Sunday before games to make sure that everyone's on the same page, we get everybody in position, and we start all of our competitions promptly per the schedule. One item of note, the intermediate and advanced from last year have basically flipped. So after the 1 p.m. start of Advanced Super G, which will be followed directly by the Advanced Unified competition. So our recommendation is any unified partners go to the Super G course with your athletes at the start of the Super G competition. One other item of note for the Super G competition, the timing is the same, but the calculation of the time is not the same as giant slalom or slalom. For the Super G competitions, the first run is a practice run only. And to make sure that our competitions run more efficiently this year, we will not be timing that first run. So I just want to repeat that. The first run of Super G is a practice run only. We will not be timing that, so that way we can move the athletes through as quickly as possible. Then the second run, so it's only one timed run for Super G. And again, we'll follow that up directly, immediately after the competition. We'll start the Unified. 1:15 p.m., Intermediate Giant Slalom will start. Followed 2 p.m., Novice Giant Slalom. So essentially, 3 competitions will be running simultaneously on the hill. 2:30, we start our Glide and Super Glide time trial. And then at 2:30 p.m., the Intermediate Super G will start. There should be enough time to allow athletes to get from the Giant Slalom to the Super G, and the same with getting from the Advanced Super G to the Advanced Giant Slalom, which will start at 3 p.m. So it's a condensed schedule. We have a lot going on across the mountain, pretty much overlapping at the same time. And our coaches meeting will start approximately at 4:30 p.m. in the staging tent. And then, of course, at 7 p.m. is the dance and social. The theme is Hoedown this year. So that should be a lot of fun. That's the first time I've seen it, so that'll be cool. On Tuesday, again, we're going to start in the morning promptly at 10 a.m. with the Novice Slalom, 10:30 Intermediate Slalom, again, followed directly by the Unified competition. So just to reiterate, any Unified partner should go with their athletes to the Intermediate Slalom competition. Then one other thing we moved is snowboard. We had it on Monday last year. Monday was a little busy. We felt we may have been able to get better participation if we did it on Tuesday. We do actually have, I believe, at least one registered athlete for the snowboard, which is more than we had last year. So that's better than 0. And again, for the snowboard demo, any athlete, it does not count as a registered competition event. So if there is an athlete that's competing, and I want to preface this, if they have snowboard experience, the snowboard course will not be open for any athlete that has no previous snowboard experience. However, if there are athletes that have snowboard experience, or coaches for that matter, if they're on snowboards, more than welcome to run the course on Tuesday. Then at 11 a.m., the Advanced Slalom competition, followed by Unified, with Glide and Super Glide competition at 11:30 a.m. So while we're on this slide, I typically wait until the very end to open it up to questions, but I do want to open up to questions right now about the competition since we're on this slide.
Matt, Al Jank here.
Hey, Al.
Hi, I got a question on the snowboard demo.
Certainly.
Can we have our non-athletes, non-coaches who might not be in the system, can they sign up if they have snowboard experience?
I don't see any reason why not, but make
Okay.
sure they register or communicate with Mike to make sure that we do get their information
Yep.
and that they sign the appropriate waiver for being on the hill and get the lift ticket and all that good stuff.
All right, sounds good.
Al, yeah, to clarify, sorry to slightly contradict Matt.
No, go ahead. Go ahead, Mike.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah, the athletes who aren't registered for winter games would not be able to do the snowboarding because we wouldn't have the medical available and all that. No athlete can go onto the hill without being a registered.
Okay. All right then.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, that we assume the liability if they step on that course.
Sure. Understand.
Sorry about that, Mike. I misunderstood that. I didn't realize that. I thought we were talking outside of athletes. Thank you for that clarification.
Yeah. Outside of athletes, other volunteers and such, it's less of an issue. But definitely athletes would not be able to do that without being a registered participant in the games.
Last year we had an athlete registered, and then on Monday, and then it just didn't kind of go off because there was so much chaos. With it kind of froze up at the top of the advanced hill. So what you're saying is that the snowboard's going to be on Tuesday, and if they're registered, it's going to be a go on Tuesday?
Yes, the snowboard, yes. As long as they're registered and they have snowboard experience, they can go through the snowboard course.
Okay, and do you have an approximate time for that?
It's 10:30. It'll be open at 10:30 a.m., and we'll have it open through and after lunchtime.
Okay, so basically all it is a snowboard area that they can snowboard down through as long as they're done with their other events.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep, it's a course that's specifically with smaller breakaway gates, spaced farther apart, based on, again, the proper regulations for setting a snowboard course.
Okay, how do I double check to make sure my athlete's actually registered?
Shelley, your athlete is registered.
Okay, thank you, Mike.
Mike, Al Jank again, not trying to push the envelope here, but if
Go ahead, Al.
If I've got some of my family members who are going to be out there volunteering, and let's say whatever they're doing on Tuesday is done, so they're in the system as a volunteer, just for the 2-day event. Could they do it if they wanted to?
That's fine. If they're registered, if they're a registered member of your delegation, which if they're a volunteer with that, there's no problem.
Okay, well, I'm thinking of people who aren't necessarily registered with my delegation, but they may have, either they've already signed up to be a volunteer through the state organization, or they will register when they get up there on Monday.
If they're a registered volunteer with the system, then yes, they're fine.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Sure.
This is great. We really want to get some momentum for the snowboard, and I'm glad we got all those questions.
Matt, I have a quick question about the Unified.
Sure.
It's Frank. I'm a little confused about the ordering. For both the intermediate and advanced slalom, for example, the athlete will go down twice for his own slalom competition, and then he'll come back up and do it 2 more times with his Unified partner?
Correct.
Okay.
That is consistent in how we've done it for the past probably 4 or 5 years.
Okay, I was not aware of that. Sorry.
That's okay. No, that's why I want to open up the questions right now while everybody's looking at it. Any other questions? Okay, great. Good conversation. Let's go ahead and continue, Mike. Okay, the base map. Now, this is the 2015 base area map. There is only one minor change. Mike, if you don't mind, you're more familiar with this one than I am, or George. Could one of you guys walk through this?
Sure. And George, jump in and correct me on here because I may get it wrong. The one change that affects delegations is the location of the overnight ski storage that had been in the space that we're using as the control center. We belatedly realized that we had put too many things happening in that space. So it will now be, if you can see where the cursor is, we'll have a new map in the event guide, which will go out no later than this weekend. We'll also be sending these slides out tonight, tomorrow, by the way. But George, it's the ski check area here. Is that correct?
It is where you're pointing the cursor, Mike, but it is the office that is identified as the private lessons. That's where you would go for registration for a private lesson. And so they have a nice little lobby there, and they're going to allow us to put the trash cans inside that lobby. We hope to have volunteers put them out in the morning, as we did last year, so that you can just walk along the pavement area there and pick up your skis.
Okay. And we'll have a sign there and all. Keep in mind, we are not checking boots. We are not checking helmets. We are only checking skis and poles.
Mike, just a reminder to everybody, it's a good idea to put, especially if you're getting a lot of rental, if you get rental skis, it's a good idea to put some duct tape on those skis and put the names on, because they all look alike, and athletes are liable to pick up somebody else's skis by mistake. So it's better to identify the skis that belong with each athlete.
Okay. But other than that, everything is the same, and again, we'll have an updated map for the event guide.
Okay, great. Let's go ahead and go on to the next slide. Okay, the Alpine race locations. I'm pleased to say that there are no changes from our competition last year to where we ran the novice event and the intermediate being on Stalker, and Super G's still going to be on Sidewinder. Again, that's a fun course. I really love that one. And Advance will be on Home Run again. No changes. I think we've got some great trails identified. Stalker ran very well this past weekend on Sunday. We addressed the issues with the grooming with Whitetail. They made sure it was taken care of, and the course ran very well. One of our intent is to make that a longer course, just to let everyone know it will be a longer course at Games. Whitetail is allowing us to close Ledgewood, so we'll be able to start the course up at the top of Ledgewood where it's nice and flat. Athletes won't have any trouble getting into the start gate, lining up. And we're going to run it down to the flat part with the finish line right near where the trail merge is. And it's going to be great access for spectators. We're going to have lots of signs up, and we really encourage people. Of course, work with SOMD to make sure you get a walking pass. But by all means, we want to make sure that the intermediate course is very accessible to spectators this year, and we really want to encourage a lot of people to make it over there. And as always, Glide and Super Glide will be right outside the Children's Center. We had it really set up well last year, a lot of great flags. I went past it during competition, and it was really exciting. We had a lot of spectators there. So one of the things, just to let everyone know, we've been going for is trying to have as many competitions accessible for people to watch, and to bring it really more of an Olympic feel to the event on the snow. I think we really captured that last year, and we're looking to grow it even more this year. Yep, I was going to open it up to questions since we're on this slide.
Yeah, I've got a question about Stalker. I noticed that at the bottom of that hill this weekend, we had a lot of people. Looked like it was kind of hard getting out of there. Is there anything that can be done about kind of grooming that a little bit better or slowing it up a little bit? I noticed there were a lot of spills going on.
On Saturday or Sunday?
I think I noticed it more on Saturday.
Saturday there was an issue with the area. It was not groomed properly by Whitetail. It was very soft and mushy. We worked very diligently before we started running athletes to make sure it was safe enough. It was cleared by our technical delegates we have 2 of them on our volunteer staff. They are ski patrol. And we made sure that it was taken care of on Sunday, so it wasn't as much an issue. For Games, we're actually going to run it all the way down. We're going to close Ledgewood, and The athletes, we're going to finish on a flat area. It should be a really great course to run on at games.
Okay, so are we saying about where it ended the last time there may be one more gate?
It's probably going to be a minimum 4 gates longer.
Okay. All right.
But again, I can be honest with everyone. I got to watch some of the intermediate time trials on Saturday. The athletes really ran the course well. I mean, on Sunday. The athletes ran the course well, and I'm excited to see how it runs at games.
Okay.
Any other questions about the course locations? Okay, Mike, let's head on over to the next slide. Okay, staging and awards flow. I worked with George a little bit on this, but George, if you don't mind, I'm going to turn it over to you to talk to this one.
Hey, wait, can we go back to the last slide? I got one more question.
Certainly.
For Super G, will it be accessible for the sit ski? Like,
yeah.
will be?
We did have an athlete last year come through, an adaptive athlete come through, and it is very much accessible, and it's a great run for adaptive athletes. They can get, the gates are spaced out quite further than a GS, and plenty of turn, and once they get moving, it's good momentum on that course.
Okay. All right, I was just making sure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Mike, I'll ask you to jump in on awards when we get there. For staging, the staging tent will be in the same location, which is just off the patio outside of the rental shop.
We can't see it from here. It's
yeah,
right in this area.
Yeah. So right outside of the rental shop, and it's on the snow, so it's just off the patio. Same place as last year. And we want you there 15 minutes prior to the start for the division. So that will be on the badge and will be on the schedule. Excuse me. If everybody's there, we'll go early, but we will wait until the designated time if every athlete is not there. Have their bib and their equipment ready. I think we placed skis. We went in from the patio side last year and then went out onto the snow. So I think if you have someone that can be, can hold the equipment on, we don't want to bring equipment into the tent. Matt, were you going to say something? Or was somebody going to say something? So we don't want to bring equipment into the tent. So I would place the skis on the snow side of the tent, and if you have a volunteer there that can help get the skis with the proper athlete there, that would be great. Because then they'll just walk right over to the lift.
Hey, George, when you say the snow side, you mean the hillside, the trail side?
Yes, the hillside.
Thank you. I'll edit the slide to include that.
And I'm having a little trouble with this last statement. Make certain that the staging volunteer has checked.
Yeah, I'm not sure whether this happens much at Alpine staging. I know it has happened at track staging at summer games where someone just drops an athlete off, walks away, and hasn't checked them in. Just be certain that the staging volunteer acknowledges, yes, we have John Smith for division whatever, and we're good to go. Yeah. Don't just assume because you have something there. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think we've had a lot of problem with that. It's a relatively small and contained space, and there's enough volunteers in there that there's plenty of people to check in. So it's good advice, but I don't think we've had too much of a problem with that in the past. So after the runs, then the escorts will stay with the athletes until they make both of their runs, and then we'll take them to the awards area. Help your athlete off with their skis. There will be ski racks, there's ski racks where they always are, in the middle of the lodge area where you can walk through the lodge. There will be ski racks there. And then they'll check them in. Now, Mike, we've changed a little something, haven't we? There's going to be a second tent.
The second tent is really for Anna for her folks to work. They'll be the escorts will bring the delegations don't need to worry about checking the athletes into awards. The escorts will check them into awards.
Okay. And then there's the award stand right in front of the fire pit and the ski check area. So you will be able to get plenty of pictures. And then they'll be released, and you be ready to pick your athletes up after they receive their awards. Please do not go inside of the tents because they do get a little crowded. Even when things are moving well, there's a lot of athletes in there. So please do not go inside of the tents. Any questions on either station or awards?
Just as noted on the last bullet, because this has been an issue as well, don't, and instruct your families as well, don't crowd around the entrance to the tent either. That just makes, that's a congested area to begin with. It causes additional problems as well. Step back. You'll see the athletes up on the award stand. If there is an issue or some kind of a problem, Anna or one of her folks will ask someone to come in to assist. But please, just step back. You don't need to walk into the tent and take pictures, as was also an issue last year too. Wait until they get out on the award stand.
All right. Any questions about either staging or awards flow? Okay. Matt, I'll hand it back to you.
Sure. That's pretty much, let's go and go to the next slide, Mike.
Yeah, and again, just as a note, no, we do not expect you to be able to read all this on your screen. We will be sending the slides out, as was noted a couple times.
Yes, we just try to include everything in here. I'm not going to go over the rules. Like I said, we had some great questions at athlete training and time trials last weekend. Just an example, we did have a coach come up to us to verify what the eyewear one of the athletes was wearing. It looked like sunglasses. They kept the container it came in, brought it up to us. We took a look at it. It was most definitely designed to be on the snow and to use for skiing or snowboarding. So we allowed it. And anytime, just please make sure you ask a question about the rules, and we'll gladly try and help. Next slide, Mike. Again, just more rules. There's quite a few, and it's here just for everyone to be able to look at it and ask us any questions. Let's go to the next slide.
Yeah, actually, just one note, not that you guys can read it clearly on your screen right now. The note there about skiers requiring accommodations, any accommodations that are necessary needed to also be in place for the time trials. And we did get several of those in, and they've been included, or they were factored into the time trials. Any additional accommodation that was not part of the time trial really would not be considered. The only exception would, of course, be with Glide Super Glide, since those time trials have not occurred.
We do need to make some allowances for those deaf athletes that we have. Let's make sure we do that, because sometimes they remember and sometimes they don't.
Right. Well, that accommodation was noted for the time trials.
All right.
Yeah, Mike, can you address that? Because didn't you say that when athletes are registered, if those kind of things are noted, then they will appear on the reports that the course crews are using?
Yes, and Richard's athletes, that was noted on there as well. The only thing that came in after that, which I don't know got noted, was a request from Howard County related to a, I forget exactly what the device is called, that the athlete needed to use, and he or she used it in the time trials. So yeah, we got, Al, your notes for the Anne Arundel counties were in there, and I know Harford County had the notes on hearing impaired athletes. I'm not sure of the rest. There weren't a whole heck of a lot, though, I got to tell you.
Okay.
Thanks for getting that stuff in there for me, Mike. That was a question I was going to ask after the call, but thank you.
Yep, nope, those were all in there. And I verified they showed up on the hill sheet. The hill sheets. The hill sheets are what the officials have out on the courses, and it was actually they pop up on there in bold right next to the athlete's name. They can't miss it.
Okay.
Great point, Mike. Thank you very much for bringing that up. Okay, and here's just a list of some on snow tips. Again, the weather can change. Be aware of what the weather's going to be like. If it's going to be warm, you want to make sure that the athlete is not overdressed. Hydration, as always, is a key, but also if it's going to be very cold. Again, we've had a real yo-yo of a weather pattern here. We had, I believe, 50 degrees last week, and we're going to have bitter cold again this weekend. So it's really a coin flip on what our weather is going to be for games. So as always, make sure dress in layers, hydrate, and of any special requirements that the athlete may have. Let's go ahead and then the next slide, Mike. Additional snow tips, and one item of note, the accident procedures. If there is an issue with an athlete, please contact either GMT or SOMD staff. Just let them know of the incident. We will call it in. We do have a mountain radio accessible to us. Note the specific information that we're asking for, only the name of the trail, location of the athlete, exact location of the trail, and any primary information. Nothing more. Anything you want to add to that, Mike or George?
Yeah, Matt, just a reminder to everybody, if you can't find a management team member or a staff who have a radio, just go to the nearest lift shack and they can call ski patrol for you. So that's the easiest way. Try to leave someone with the athlete. Don't ever leave an injured person, but get someone in your group or someone who comes along to go to the nearest lift shack and ask for ski patrol.
Excellent point. Thank you, George. Okay, let's go on to the next slide, Mike. And that covers pretty much everything for Alpine. I want to open it right now to any other outstanding questions.
Just one other note, which I'm not sure if folks checked your email or not, that we sent out, or I sent out late this afternoon. We are extending the deadline for updated events to tomorrow evening. Everybody being at the time trials, you should have been able to make your decisions there, but we were late in getting the results of the time trials. Again, you shouldn't need those. You should have all the information because you were at time trials, but we just want to accommodate that. So you have until 11 o'clock Wednesday evening, tomorrow evening, to make changes. It looks like we've gotten about 80% of them in already, so thank you to those who have done that, but you do have a little bit of extra time in case anyone was waiting for those final times before making any final decisions.
Mike, Aljank here. Somebody on your end made a reference to the walking passes to view the races. I think it was Matt said something about that.
Sure.
Where do families get the walking passes?
Family registry or family hospitality.
Okay. All right. And will people be able to walk up close to the finish line for the Super G?
I think it's a hike, but yeah, they can get on.
Okay.
It is quite a hike. It's not. I don't want to say it's not possible, but it's a difficult walk to get up to the finish line of Super G.
Okay. So is the finish line for the Super G, is that before it merges with that first run coming over from the left?
Yes.
Okay. All right then. Yeah, that would be a hike.
Yeah.
But relatively flat. I mean, if somebody really wanted to walk up there, but I think I only have one athlete that's going to ski Super G, so no big deal. All right, I'll get off of here so other people can talk.
Thanks, Al.
Any other questions? Okay. Well, thank you very much, everyone, for joining. George, Mike, do you guys have anything else you want to add?
No, thank you. I'll see everybody at the games.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for making this past weekend a great success. I personally, and I know Matt's team and George and the rest of the management team, truly appreciate the camaraderie and the team approach that the areas and the coaches take to making these events a success. We each have our own roles and our own responsibilities, but we really seem to be working well together, and I think that shows dramatically in terms of how well things go and the impact on the athletes. So thank you very much. Please pass that on to your coaches. And then the last thing would be, please ask your family members and your coaches as well, and your athletes too, to thank the folks at Whitetail. They are a true partner in these events. We could not do it. It's particularly evident for the snowshoe folks because they, in essence, create the course, but it is also evident in the Alpine in terms of, at least at the games when they have more flexibility, just how they open up the entire facility. George, you want to just give that little example you've given in terms of with the overnight ski storage and their reaction to that?
Sure. For anybody who's ever negotiated with a facility, you'll appreciate this story. We were discussing with the mountain operations people the fact that we had put too many things in the new control center space, and so we suggested to them that we could move the ski storage elsewhere, and we asked them for their advice on where, what did they have in mind, and where did they think that we could put the skis for overnight storage. And their response was, I would imagine wherever you choose is the place we're going to put it. I can't remember ever having a facility be that cooperative, and it wasn't just these two guys that I was talking to. It's pretty much everybody at Whitetail. So, as Mike said, please thank them. No matter who you see, the people who work the concessions, the host patrol, just let them know that we really appreciate being there.
Yep. And that said, unless anybody else has any last-minute questions, we're good to go. And again, we'll send the slides out and the link for anybody else who wasn't able to join us. Well, those should go out tomorrow morning.
Mike Aljank here with an alibi.
An alibi.
So where will Family Hospitality be located? Upstairs in the main lodge?
Yeah, it's the if you go up where the big bay windows are,
yeah.
They're on that level, sort of. There's like the 3 or 4 steps down on the left-hand side.
Right.
Yeah, that's it's been there for the last couple of years. It'll be there again.
All right then. And then one thing that we talked about at the last week, as far as lift tickets for family members, I forget what the prices were, and I apologize for that. I got to ask you again for those family members that want to go out and ski.
Yeah, I believe that they give them the same price that we pay, I believe, which, if not, it's pretty darn close to it, which is $20 for a lift only, $30 for a lift plus rental.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Okay, all right. And although I didn't get a chance to say anything to any of the Whitetail staff, I just want to, you guys did do a super job with the time trials this past weekend. Understand the snafu about the lack of grooming at the bottom of the intermediate advanced time trial course, but it was in good shape when we went out. We were lucky enough to be one of the first groups to go down the course, but it was noticeably better Sunday. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay. Thanks again. We look forward to seeing everybody in a couple of weeks, and thanks much. Have a great
Good night,
Good night, everybody.